Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is about time. The blog post is finally here, the much awaited blog post. And I am joined by Tony Scungili. We have not read this thing yet, so you are going to get our live to tape reaction. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad, but we are going to find out. Tony, are you ready for this?
Absolutely ready.
All right. And if you guys are ready, Tony, tell them what to do, my friend.
Never stop complaining.
ValleyFlyin.
All right, what is up, Valley Maniacs? I am back. I am joined by Tony Scungili. Welcome to the ValleyFlyin channel. I hope you're ready for this blog post. I certainly am. I have not read this yet. I know you have not read this yet. This is your first time here. Do all that usual stuff, guys. Subscribe, like, smash that notification bell. But let's get right into this. I am long awaited this, my brother. All right, acknowledging community feedback. Over the past few weeks, the dev team has been reading over a lot of feedback coming from many corners of the community. We've also been in discussions with leaders from some of the top alliances regarding their concerns with the economy. We've been finding their feedback immensely valuable. Upon reflection of this feedback, the team agrees that there are some issues that have been left unattended for too long, and we need to focus on addressing them. There is a lot to sift through and prioritize, but we believe it is important to give this feedback a proper analysis that it deserves. You've expressed frustration about several areas of the game, and we understand these critiques come from a place of passion and love for Marvel Strike Force. I think that last sentence is true. All right, today we want to acknowledge some of the highest priority issues and many details as possible currently available and how we are addressing them. It is our intention to publish a follow-up list of this post in 3 weeks that will provide details on specific actions that we're taking on the timelines you can expect to when these changes in game. All right, so this is similar to what happened with Fix MSF. They said they're going to happen in 2 or 3 weeks. They actually bumped it up last time. Do you think they're going to bump it up this time? That 3-week timeline?
Yeah, I think that they said 3 weeks specifically to give themselves a little breathing room, but I do think they're taking this important, and we'll find out as we read more, but this is the kind of post that the post was delayed. This is the kind of thing that happens when someone's like, all right, we got to fix some stuff. So yeah. I think we're going to start seeing some positive stuff from them. Let's find out.
I think the delay is a good thing. Now it screwed up our video schedule, but other than that, I think it means this is going to be a good post. So let's get to it. All right. Orange Gear Access. The most pressing concern the community has raised in their weeks is availability of Orange Gear. Certain Orange Gear pieces, including Origin pieces, that's the minis, the mini uniques, the Gear 13 uniques
Origin,
that you're talking about?
No. It could be, in general, when they say Origin pieces, they mean the specific type, like the bio gear. They don't intentionally mean the micro uniques or the mini uniques, we call them, but they are part and parcel of the same Origin style gear.
Gotcha. All right. Superior beta catalysts and other superior part catalysts are in very short supply. While we intend that players should have made choices about where they intend to use these components, we were overly tight on these resources, preventing players from bringing up a wider variety of characters past Gear Tier 12, especially since the progress to Gear Tier 15 requires a significant amount of these resources. The game isn't yet at a point where Orange Gear should be as accessible as blue or purple, but it has moved to the point where the non-unique Orange Gear shouldn't be as tight as it is today. We're putting our plans into action to correct that, and while some of these plans will take longer to prepare, some of these changes we could commit to in the near term are updating the raid store milestone rewards to include more rewards, especially Orange Gear, increasing the quantity available from the supply store and the raid supply store. A new feature that we'll highlight in the upcoming blog of our 2021 preview will also be a source of Orange Gear. Stay tuned for more details. Is this a big issue for you? I think most people were concerned with the mini uniques, the 13, 14, and 15 mini uniques. Was Catalyst a big issue for you in the economy?
For me, no, but I am also fastidious with my resources. Like, I do not spend my resources, so I didn't run into an issue. But that said, I do know it was an issue for a lot of players, not just necessarily players who are upgrading willy-nilly like Shield Trooper characters and stuff like that. But there are, like, yeah, I do think that there is a reasonable lack. For me, here's the argument. If I have to open an arena kingpin orb to get resources, we have a problem. Like that is not the mechanism by which I should be gaining value in this game. So I do think that that's true. Might I just make one comment?
Yes.
They said the game isn't yet at a point where orange gear should be as accessible as blue or purple. Now I do agree with that. I do think that you shouldn't necessarily, like, gear tier 13 isn't necessarily the new I've maxed out the character yet. But I don't think purple gear is as accessible, like is nowhere near as accessible as blue gear. So to compare blue and purple gear, I think blue gear, while some people run out of it, is very accessible. And I think that we're still trying to get more and more purple gear, especially with the frequency of characters, especially when they release 5 mutants at a time and 3 skill and 9 bio. So I feel like I agree with the orange issue maybe being a little bit tighter than it should, but still should be a little bit of a hold. But I think that they really need to take a moment and look at how purple gear needs to be situated in the game. And I think the solution to that is increase the amount of purple gear we get in those blitz, in that blitz store where you can get those purple gear orbs.
That's where you could select the origin trait of the characters.
Yeah, just increase the number of those, make those orbs worth more. And I think that solves a big deal of the purple. I know a lot of people who are still running out of ABCs. So to say that purple gear and blue gear are great and orange gear is a little bit tighter than it needs to be is kind of a understatement. Blue gear is okay. Purple gear is not great. And then orange gear is kind of abysmal. We need to move everything into a more positive approach, in my opinion.
I would agree. I'm still running out of purple gear at some time. I've just opened a bunch of those blitz orbs this week. Probably about 200 of those blitz orbs this week, just because I'm running out of purple gear. So yes, it is still an issue. I think I would like to see not only the catalyst, but those origin parts. I don't know what they're like, the superior adamantium, those alien spores. I would like to see those a little more accessible, and then keep the bottlenecks on those gear 14 and those gear 15 mini uniques. I think that would be, and then obviously a lot more purple gear in the economy as well, and that will provide players a catch-up mechanic. Also, I agree, and I also think that I'm okay with gear tier 15 being a bottleneck. But you kind of have to remove a previous bottleneck in order to implement a new one. And I think that honestly, a player should reasonably and comfortably be bringing characters to gear tier 13 at this point in the game without necessarily panicking about not being able to bring a character to 15. Yeah. They should be separate issues. They chose to introduce new items into the game to make it scarce. That in and of itself created the bottleneck. I don't think we need the regular unique bottleneck, especially since it's 12, 24, 25 as you go from 13, 14, and 15. I don't think that bottleneck needs to exist in the level it's existing as of right now. Yeah. So purple gear is probably the big thing we want to change with this one. All right, this is my real bottleneck right here. And I don't know about you. Gold hasn't been a bottleneck for me for a while. Training modules has been a bottleneck. So let me see what they say about this. There are players, especially newer players, who have a great need for more training modules. I'm beta player, and I still have a great need for training modules. Building out a wider roster for modes like War and Blitz can be demanding in this area than building up a few teams for Arena and Raid. One of the ways we plan to address this is to make training modules more readily accessible in one of the mode specific stores we'll announce later in a bit, and we are actively investigating in additional options. Man, I can't talk. I would like to see this in all of the stores. Other than that, I like this. We should be able to buy this. I got so much Blitz currency. I got so much Raid currency. I would like more than one store. Other than this, I think this is a decent solution.
I'm gonna say I like what the words they're using imply. I'm gonna be cautious because I don't know if they necessarily, if like I made an argument, what was it, a couple weeks ago when we were talking, hey, just make it so that if I win a RTA battle, I get one orange ability material, or one orange training module. You know, that's it. Like that, and that's such a small thing, but I feel like that's a huge improvement. So like, if this is better than that, then I'm going to shut up about it and be like thankful. If this is not as valuable as that, or if they don't necessarily hit the numbers, like it being an issue is a problem. My roommate who just entered Dark Dimension 4, has 3 teams at 500K, and his next best team is 5 random characters that equal 300K, you know, like, and the rest of his roster is all level 1. So it's yes, there is a degree of like, you make your choice and you spend money to make more choices. I get that, and I support that completely, but you also can't hamstring players into not being able to grow their roster. So I think that just increasing the number of training modules that the average player gets, I would actually argue that we need to receive about, this is going to be ridiculous, 5 times what we naturally receive in order to be not even good, but more comfortable, to the point where I hear so many people say, like, I can't work on any characters. I have like 10 million gold, but no way to bring them up because of training modules. I feel like that's a huge problem. I feel like the bottlenecks should work in concert with each other so that they all work in the same way. I feel like you should never be like over on one of the bottlenecks and under on the other for the sake of it. So yeah, this looks positive. I'm gonna hope it's positive, but
all right, which store are you hoping it's gonna be? If it's only one, so I'm hoping they switch this and make it more than one store. But which if it's only one, which one do you hope it's gonna be?
Raid.
Me too.
Can't be in Blitz store. There's too many things in the Blitz store that you have to buy. Yeah. There's war attack credit. Like, making a choice that deep is too hard. Like, you shouldn't have to choose, especially because they said people need to hold it for war and Blitz. Like, if I need my resources for war and Blitz to build teams up to be more successful, I don't want to spend them for the same things I'd be spending in war. So I don't want it in war store. I think nobody does, but that's probably where it's going to go. I hope it's going to be raid. I want it in raid store. I want it in the raid store.
I have like over 200,000 credits in raid right now, and there's not much to buy. Once in a while, I see those purple pieces that I see them pop up. They usually don't pop up though.
Oh no, I'm using 1,500 credits to open a purple orb. That's how many. I was like, yeah, whatever. Give me more. You know.
Oh, just the orb. I should do that. I didn't think of that. Yeah. Good.
No, I still have over 100,000.
All right, training modules. One of the big things that it's creating for me is the bottleneck with these new characters. So I'm curious to see what they're going to say about this. Previously, we mentioned that we delivered at least 2 characters per month with 1 guaranteed. Oh, I guess this is talking about farmable, fountainable characters is what this, I think, is just referring to. With 1 guaranteed on the first Wednesday every month, and we believe we've done a good job honoring that commitment. I would say yes, except for the Symbiote Spider-Man to milestone orbs and Domino to the orbs. But other than that, I think they've honored that commitment pretty well in the first Wednesday. Last year we did allow too much time to pass without certain characters becoming fountable. Yeah, I guess the community decided that it was a worthier stay. I think we did. And you, me, I don't know. I use it all the time. Be it in campaign stores or orbs, due to the schedule of legendary events and required inputs, a few characters were delayed longer than we originally intended. We typically don't like holding off characters for an extended time, and we'll be more mindful to not allow this to happen in the future. We have been adding characters to the War Store without removing older characters, and that has created some overcrowding and diluting of how desirable the characters in the War Store are. We're working to remove less desirable characters that new one enters. All right, so this is a couple different issues. So they're gonna add more characters. They're gonna make it more fountainable for us. Do you think they just forgot to make characters more fountainable or farmable or whatever word we want to use here?
I'm gonna give them a pass for December, and I'm gonna give them a pass for the holidays. Whole month, right? I'm gonna give them a pass for the holidays of like what's been going on. I think
we did get a lot in January though. We got like 4 in January. I
think first of all, I have a problem with, we mentioned we deliver at least 2 characters per month with 1 guaranteed on the first Wednesday. I don't think they've given us 2 characters per month, but they may justify it however they want. I think that we get 1 guaranteed, but I don't think it's been. I could be wrong. I think
the only months is when they did a Domino to the Blitz orb. They counted that one. That was the first Wednesday, and then they did Symbiote Spider-Man to the milestone orb on the subsequent Wednesday. They counted that one as well. Those were the only 2 months that they missed. Other than that, they were pretty reliable since that blog post.
I gotta say, To me, I accept and I prefer, like, I'm not going to complain that they let characters like X Factor, or not X Factor, X Force and the Pimtech team become fountainable before certain other characters, because they were more necessary to complete something cool, like unlocking a legendary or an event or something along those lines.
Oh, okay. So I misunderstood.
I get that. I agree. At the same time, and again, I understand they're a business, but I don't think there's any reason for a character like Beast or Zemo to be unfarmable in the game this long in. My personal opinion, which I know is ridiculous, is I think 3 months after the character's event, whatever their release is, whether it's a blitz or, whatever, ends, 3 months, that character is somewhere. Even if it's temporary, they have no problem making characters temporarily accessible in like raid stores or just throw the character somewhere temporarily. They've done a great job of putting characters in orbs quickly. I mean, we even joked about Swarm. Swarm's event didn't even end.
Oh, that was the first one. We're like, Swarm's getting no disrespect, but that was a trend moving forward as we really good.
And I know it seems silly because that's not necessarily a farmable character, and I agree it's not, but at least access became more available before they became fountainable. Yeah. So I do like the idea of what they're doing. I do think they could be a little bit better at it. And I don't think that a character should go, even with like conversations of Cull Obsidian, I don't think a character should go 9 months without having a reliable way to access them. Just because the game changes. This isn't some arbitrary number. We were talking about how it took Colossus almost 9 months to become farmable. And now Colossus is a good character, but the time frame between him becoming available and him becoming farmable, he lost a ton of value because better characters came out. Because better characters have to keep coming out to keep the game fresh, there's no reason for a character to be out for more than like 3 or 4 months, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it may lead to more profitability if they're more on a regular cadence of when a character is released for purchase, when they have their event, and then when they become farmable or fountainable. I don't know which word to use, but because like with Skilletary, I don't know when I'm going to be able to build that team. One of the problems with that team is I can't get gold stars on that team, so it makes that team less appealing. But if I knew in 3 months I would be able to build that team, and then I could start to use them to potentially counter Marauders or Blackwater or whatever, then that team becomes more appealing to me. The same thing with this astonishing X-Men team. If it was more predictable, personally for me, I think that would be making me more excited about these characters. Do you feel the same way, or am I alone?
No, I feel exactly the same way. I also feel like, and I might be speaking for myself, I am way more inclined to buy an offer that stars up my character and to buy an offer that just gets me more shards of a character. And I might be alone in this, but I feel like a lot of people also have that sentiment. So I'd be more inclined to buy a $30 character offer for 50 shards if I was around 50 shards away from starring them up. And characters like my Zemo, who are like 78 of 200, I'm not going to buy 2 offers to improve his quality. I'm sure some people are, and that's great, but I'm just not going to. I don't care that much. But I would if I was 50 shards away from buying, Just saying.
Agreed. I've saw that many times. Like, oh, but I'm not going to get another star. Why should I buy this? It does nothing. It's just $20 down drain, $30 down drain. Warstar, I think this is good. They're talking about removing characters. We've been asking for this for a long time. Good. Just like the orbs. All right, last one. And then,
fundamentally this. Yeah, removing characters is fundamentally the same as adding more slots. So yeah, fine.
Good. Good. All right, this is the last one, and then we're going to talk about the rest on your channel, my friend. Doom Raid rewards. In version 5.1, released the new endgame Doom Raid in a First Strike early release state. When we did this, we did not properly communicate our future plans for Doom Raid, including all the rewards that would eventually be going into it. We plan to include the next tier, ISO 8 Blue. That is something that you mentioned a few weeks ago, the ISO 8 Blue coming. As a new endgame reward for the raids, but we were not ready to go into details yet. While the raid is in its First Strike state, alliances ready for a greater challenge in Ultimate 7 difficulty 5 can build and test their teams in preparation of the full release of this epic challenge. Now, I think we were trying to figure out, were you able to, anybody able to communicate to you, did the Ultimate 7 First Strike use the same currency as Ultimate 6? Or were there two different raids? It was different currency.
It was the same currency, but you could only do it like once a week or something.
Okay.
If I recall correctly. Because that was the whole race. If you remember, there was a reason why it took 3 weeks for the race to be completed.
My mind, I remember there was a race. I still don't remember the currency though, but yeah. So
you don't remember changing your time zones?
No, I don't remember. Well, in beta, yeah. But anyway, let's not talk about that. All right, Doom Raid rewards though. It's First Strike state. It was not properly communicated. It did say First Strike, which goes back to the original problem with this. It was a limited time raid. Not many alliances are able to enter. The rewards are bad. I think the First Strike for Ultimate 7 when it first came out was really, really good. Like accelerated and made people want to push, right? No, they were not.
No, you do not remember U7 very well.
Oh my goodness, it's only a year ago. I'm not remembering anything about the First Strike.
No, we were 7. Mad. we as the community were like, grr.
But I remember we were pushing. I remember pushing for it. Like a few. Yeah. You remember once a week. I remember for us it was about once a week as well. But I thought it was because of the rewards. But
I think it was maybe I'm remembering. I think it was specifically because of the tier 4 training ability materials that they gave, which was the first time a raid ever gave us those. So we were just like, hey, we'll take 5 of those. You know, like if you got the 60% or something.
Is that what we were all concerned for 5 training in T formats?
You have to remember the tier 4 training materials. Yeah, we were starved for those. We were not. I don't even know what to do with my T4s now. I'm like, yeah. Now I'm sitting on 4,000. Like, all right, yeah, here's a tier 4.
Yeah. Like, all right. I knew we were doing it though. So anyway, but yeah, what do you think of this? There's so much in this that it's only a limited time raid. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually never had a problem with Doom Raid rewards to begin with. I knew it was specifically supposed to be a challenging game mode. I knew it wasn't for everybody, and I knew that it was meant to be like an introduction to it. I'm also a big fan of them releasing content that we're not capable of beating yet, that we are missing pieces to. And while I do think it was a little bit stronger than we were expecting, I don't inherently have a problem with that. I do think that the rewards that they showed for the First Strike were nowhere near equal to the challenge level, because rewards have to match what it takes to do. That's just how it works. You know, I'm not going to work 40 hours a week for, the same amount of money as somebody doing less work like for 20 hours a week. It's the same kind of concept. Like, it depends on what you're doing. So I think the raids were fine. I'm very happy to see that they're saying like, this is what we were going to do and this is what we're going to change. That's great. This entire thing could have been avoided with the initial post saying Doom Raid income, because they did a post about it. They could have just said Doom Raid incoming.
Very short notice. But do you remember it was like 3 or 4 days notice? They did that strike time, and then boom, we got the update with Doom Raid. It's like, holy crap. Yeah. Nobody had time to know what the heck was coming.
One line of dialogue fixes that. They could have just been like, this is ridiculously hard. Do not expect to be able to beat it. Like, because they used it with Dark Dimension, and we kind of got like...
They did it with Ultimate 7 First Strike as well, so people were thinking it's going to be hard.
Yeah, just like, let people know you are not supposed to beat this. Then we go in and we're like, wow, we are not supposed to beat this. And then you can complain about it because you can't beat it, but then, what you see was what you got. Just be a little bit more open about that in the future, and I think you can avoid this kind of problem going forward.
All right, last thing I want to talk about before we go over to talk about the rest of this on your channel, ISO 8 Blue. You knew about this a few weeks ago. I think they might have did they mention this in the Strike Time episode back in like November or something like that? Or was it the road ahead where they mentioned changes coming to ISO 8?
So they've heavily implied for a long time that ISO 8s that we're experiencing is the first stage of ISO 8s. Now, I've had some information about ISO 8 Blue for a while. Originally, it was supposed to be ISO 8 Blue was going to come around release, which is why I was a little shocked on how early they released ISO 8s. But March was my understanding of when they would be releasing ISO 8 Blue. To my knowledge, if you want to get a little bit more details, and again, this is just speculation. I heard from a guy, they will be the next step up from ISO 8. Like, you need to complete green ISO 8 in order to apply them, and they are not necessarily continuations of the previous tier. That is the not necessarily. While some might be, they might be additional tweaks that maybe you can start with one tier and move into a separate tier of blue ISO 8. That's my information.
Oh, interesting.
Details of which I don't have.
From what you understand, they have to be level 5 before they can in the green part before they can enter the blue.
Yeah, it functions exactly like a gear tier. Like, you can't move up to your next gear tier until you've completed all of the steps. It's that way.
Wow, so we're gonna get gold eventually at ISO 8.
We're gonna get red gear and ability materials soon too, right?
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, that is about it for that. Unless there's anything. Actually, let's do a summary real quick. What are general thoughts on what we've seen so far in the blog post?
My general thoughts is I'm happy they took the time to say this. I'm happy. I've worked with and for many other companies, and then a lot of mobile game companies that wouldn't even begin to go into this much detail about problems. They would say, we recognize that there's a problem. Sorry. I do feel like this is maybe unnecessary if they were a little bit better at what they do, but I do think this is a very good thing. It shows that they are capable of caring. The only takeaway I have is that hopefully, like, how many times do we have to, teach them the lesson of, like, just be more open about it?
I think it's going to be a constant battle. We're going to have a good few months, and then the ship is going to start steering. The community's getting angry, start to get it back on course. I think it's going to be a constant thing that goes on with this, and I think that's how most games are going to end up being.
Yeah, at the end of the day, as long as it makes the game better, as long as they're going to do the thing that's going to separate this game from many other games like it that are not doing as well, and that's all I care about, the ability to continue to play this game.
All right, we're going to talk about quitting penalty in RTA, raid milestones, Thor hammer to Thor crash, save squads, and everything else on Tony Scungili's channel, guys. Thank you for joining me, Tony. We're going to go over to your channel. The link is going to be in the description and a pinned comment on the channel. And that is it. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, give me that hug fist bump, brother. Make sure you guys check out some of my other videos. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see y'all later. Hug fist bump, Valley and Tony.